Everyone in the town of Grey Hollow avoided the forest at the northern edge of the village. It wasn't marked on any map, and no sign warned people to stay away. But every child grew up knowing one simple rule: never enter the Whispering Woods after sunset. The trees were twisted, their branches tangled like frozen hands reaching for the sky. Even in daylight, the forest felt dark, as if the sun itself feared what lived inside. 20 years ago, 5 villagers entered the woods and vanished. Only 2 returned, and when they did, they spoke only 7 words before falling silent forever. She is still there. Ethan Marrow arrived in Grey Hollow searching for forgotten horrors. He was a documentary filmmaker who specialized in haunted places and cursed legends. When he heard about the Whispering Woods, he knew he had found his next story. The villagers warned him again and again, but Ethan only smiled. Fear was his profession. On his first evening in town, he packed his camera and walked straight toward the forest as the sun disappeared behind the trees. At first, the woods seemed quiet, too quiet. No birds chirped, no insects sang. Even the sound of his boots against the ground felt swallowed by the air. The deeper he walked, the heavier the silence became. Then, from somewhere between the trees, he heard a soft whisper calling his name. Ethan. The voice was gentle, like a little girl's. His heart froze. No one here should have known his name. The whisper came again, closer this time. Ethan, you came back. A pale figure stepped out from behind the trees. It was a woman with gray skin and long black hair that dragged along the forest floor. Her eyes were empty holes, deep and endless. She smiled at him, and the trees around them began to creak as if bowing to her presence. Terror took control of Ethan's body, and he ran without looking back. When he woke up, he was lying at the edge of the forest. His camera was destroyed. His hands shook uncontrollably. The villagers found him before sunrise, claimed he saw a woman inside the woods, but none of them acted surprised. They only looked at him with fear in their eyes. From that night on, Ethan dreamed of twisted trees, pale faces trapped in bark, and the smiling woman waiting between the trunks. The next morning, Ethan tried to leave Grey Hollow. His car refused to start. His phone showed no signal. Even the road leading out of town was blocked by fallen trees that had Dante been there the night before. The old woman from the market finally spoke the truth. "Oh, she marked you," she whispered. That was when the villagers told Ethan the full story of the Whispering Woods. Long ago, the forest belonged to a woman named Eliza Mornwood. She lived at its edge with her young daughter Lily. Eliza was rumored to speak with spirits and perform dark rituals. One winter night, Lily went missing. The villagers accused Eliza of sacrificing her child to the forest. Blinded by fear and anger, they dragged Eliza into the woods and left her there to die. Her body was never found. Days later, people began hearing a woman crying between the trees. Then the disappearances started. Everything changed for Ethan that night. As soon as darkness fell, the whispers returned. "Find me," the voice begged. Against his will, his legs carried him back into the forest. The deeper he walked, the colder the air grew. The trees shifted slowly, closing the path behind him. Pale fog wrapped around his body like cold fingers. Then he saw faces pressing out of the tree, barked dozens of silent, screaming souls trapped inside the wood. From within the mist, Eliza emerged. Her body was twisted and broken, her neck bent at an impossible angle. Her mouth opened unnaturally wide, revealing rows of shattered teeth. "You brought him back," she whispered. Behind her floated a small, pale girl. Lily. Her feet did not touch the ground. Her empty eyes locked onto Ethan. "She needs a new body," Eliza said softly.
Ow.
Roots burst from the soil and wrapped around Ethan's legs. Hands reached from the trees and grabbed his arms. Lily drifted closer. For a brief moment, she looked like a normal little girl. Then her jaw unhinged, and endless darkness poured from her mouth. Ethan screamed as the forest dragged him into its living nightmare. At dawn, the villagers found him once more at the forest's edge. But this time, something was different. His eyes were no longer his own. They were Lily's. When he smiled, it was not his voice that whispered from his lips, it was Eliza's. From that day forward, people in Grey Hollow sometimes see a young man standing between the trees at night. When travelers hear their names whispered from the darkness and follow the sound, they are never seen again. And deep inside the forest, the woman between the trees is no longer alone.